Yeah.
I do remember one benediction whenever we were preparing the incense, and we used to like to swing the incense. We found out if you swung it in a complete circle, the incense would stay in the censer, unless you happen to hit something with it. And on one occasion, the incense flew out right into the sanctuary onto the new carpeting. Father was not happy because there was burning charcoal there, and the new carpet had a little hole in it.
I went to St. Joseph's School, and we were going home from school one day along South Mount Vernon Avenue, and here comes Father Rokosh walking from town. And we kids says, oh my gosh, there's Father Rokosh, what are we going to do? Are we going to greet him, or should we just cross the street? And we said, if the nuns find out, they'll kill us. So we waited till we met him, and then we genuflected and kissed his hand and wished him a good evening, and that was it. We were safe.
Most people don't recognize that today in churches, but the church at that time was our social life because there wasn't that many things to do. So things that were held at the church, you wanted to go to because that was your chance to be with your friends. That was your chance to be together.
Our whole life always was built around the church. I mean, that was our social life, our spiritual life. I mean, that's the only life I knew. I mean, we didn't know movies or any other thing. That was our life.
But we always belonged to St. Joe's, no other church, and we came all the time. My dad had a car from 1914. He drove the car. So we always got to church and in our family. If you didn't go to church, you didn't go nowhere.
Father Rokosh remained through the Depression and to the early years of World War II. The next pastor of St. Joseph was Father Charles Kobylasz. He was appointed pastor of St. Joseph by Bishop Boyle in 1943. Under the leadership of Father Charles, the buildings on Easy Street, at the corner of Easy Street and South Mount Vernon Avenue, were acquired, and they were used for a new convent. Father Charles served our parish until 1964, when Father John Kaczmarek, who took over our parish at the time of Vatican II. And Vatican II, or the Second Vatican Ecumenical Council, was significant in the history of the Church for a variety of reasons. Many of the changes that have come about in Catholicism are the result of Vatican II. For example, liturgy in the vernacular was made permissible at that time by Vatican II, and the concept is pretty much taken over. So most places that you go, you find Mass in the vernacular instead of Latin. Father built a new church for the parish here on Walnut Hill Road, and he guided the people of St. Joseph through a period of significant transition, not just the new church in a new location, but the changes of Vatican II, the modification in, or the changes in the church liturgy, which were very significant, and a lot of people at the time were hesitant to adopt the changes.
It was a very hard time at that time. A lot of mixed emotion. A lot of us old-timers didn't want to leave the old church and weren't too enthused about going into a new church. But eventually you get over that.
It was a vast difference with this very contemporary style, and the sacristy moved to the back.
With the building of the shrines, the St. Joseph Shrine and the Shrine to the Immaculate Heart of Mary under Father John Kaczmarek. The new church, obviously one of the great benefits of this church site is parking and space and some gathering area for people to be able to congregate and be parish together. When you were down at the old site, things were tight, and although it was home for so many, coming out to a new place out here on Old Walnut Hill was invigorating, and it gave a lot of people opportunities to be more creative in their church participation than they had been downtown.
During that period, the time when Father John was here, that we finally lost our school, that was a period of transition from 1964 to about 1974. Father John later took ill and passed away. With the passing of Father Kaczmarek, Father Tamilowski took charge. The parish at that time was financially sound. The parish itself was in a state of spiritual limbo, probably because of the incapacitation of Father John, his inability to do maybe as many of the things as he'd like. And Father Tamilowski came along, and he attempted to revitalize the parish's spirituality.
Father Joe was a more mellow, where Father John was a builder. Father Joe was more of let things as they are type, nice and smooth, no ripples or anything like that.
Like his predecessor, Father Kaczmarek eventually became ill, became infirm. It was difficult for him to continue with the work of the parish. Father Tamilowski passed away on May 21st of 1994, and it was in June of 1994 that our present pastor, Father Alexander Plebin, was appointed sixth pastor of St. Joseph Parish by Bishop Anthony Bosco. Father Plebin came at a difficult time in the history of our parish. Because of periods of illness and infirmity by the two previous pastors, we needed a revitalization. And I think that of all of the pastors that we could have had at that particular time, the one who did the job, did what needed to be done for St. Joseph Parish, was Father Plebin. And one of the difficult things in writing about Father Plebin is the fact that he was so significant and so important in the parish. And sometimes it can be kind of difficult to say that without sounding like a flatterer, which was never my intention. Father Plebin is that significant in the history of this parish.
Father Plebin has really made that, he's made that special for me. I've always felt love and acceptance through him, and just in his an acknowledgement and handshake and hello. You know, he's just always been full of that love and interest and concern.
St. Joseph to me, like I say, it's my life. It was always St. Joseph.
Well, it was my life. It was my life.